wants to hang out for a little bit. Do a little bit of this stuff today on live. Another full day yesterday. We'll wait for some people to come in. What's up, Rick? Okay, anyone else watching? I got two people. Alrighty, so this is the third day on building Apocalypse and kind of getting him ready for paint. Yesterday I spent the day putting in magnets and gluing him together. So he's glued together from the boots all the way up. This is magnet. I just put a magnet in this morning. There's a little loincloth. So I drilled a hole. It's like unfortunately there's no depth here for magnets. So I just surface mount a magnet and put a recess this magnet. So once it's on there, you don't see that. It just sits there and let's get it in there. And it works well. It's a very light hole, but it's a light piece. He does have a belt buckle with an A on it. Again, I'll probably just glue this on. Once it's painted, I'll just surface glue it like that. And then that'll be a permanent fixture. So I've got a little bit of masking to do in the future, but I want to get him all kind of glued together. That way, when I glue, the epoxy oozes out and it fills in the majority of the gaps. So like his legs fit really, really well together. I don't have any gap filling on the legs. Those fit perfectly. I don't think I'll have any around. I had a little bit I did on the crotch, which I really probably didn't need to do. Just way up in here, I filled a little bit, but again, that gets covered with this piece, so it probably wasn't necessary, but I did it. I've been filling in the holes, the drain holes too. Some parts is not necessary, but again, I like to give my parts a really good bath, and you don't want to get water in the parts, so I fill the drain holes. Between the epoxy filling the gaps and the drain holes again to fill with putty, I can give these things a bath, and hopefully I won't get any water inside, because that's a big no-no. So what I'm doing today is I'm still waiting for Bond. I messaged him this morning. He said he'd get it to me. I'm still waiting for Bond to send me the file for the left shoulder, so I can print another one, because I have like I said on the first live broadcast, I'm going to do a switch out at the shoulder for that side. This side has been magnetized, so now this magnetizes in there. A nice strong 1/2 inch magnet that holds. I've got a magnet in this shoulder pad, 1/4 inch magnet, so that goes on like so. The head will get glued on. I thought about magnetizing, but I'm not worried about getting glued on later. So that gets glued on at the end. And then I added a bunch of magnets for the pipes. I cut off all the keys, all the male keys, and they're a little messy looking right now, but once they get painted, they'll be fine. So we got, let's see, which, this one? Yeah, that goes there. That goes there. That goes there. And then on this side, depending on which arm is in, it will depend on which pipe. So if you got the big screw thing in majiggy, this pipe will go on, and then it'll magnetize into the back of this shoulder pad, which unfortunately there's no room for a magnet, but it'll just sit on there just fine. So this will come in here, and that magnet will line up in there with the shoulder on. So yeah, so I'm just waiting for Bond to send me that file so I can print that shoulder. I did glue this one on for the hand. So I'm waiting to put the magnets in because I want to use all the same pilot holes for the magnets. So this will go on like so. Oh. Yeah. And then my arm's probably in the way, and this pipe comes in like that. So that's that switch out. And then when you switch out this arm, the other pipe goes on. So yeah, so we're getting there. So what I'm working on right now is I'm magnetizing the little flames on the base. What's this? Anyway, okay. Just see if there's any more comments. I have to look at my back of my phone every once in a while to see if there's any more comments because I can't, without my computer set up next to me, I can't. I've got to scroll. Okay, get this light over here. So yeah, so I'm just adding magnets to these guys. Once that's done, then it's just a matter of today I'm going to spend the rest of the day gap filling and looking for any more support marks. The support marks on this have been really good so far from what I can tell. Once I get primer on this, that'll really let me know if I have more work to do on supports. I'm pretty, there'll be more supports to take care of because I never get them all in the initial cleanup because you can't see them all. So yeah, so like I got gap filling to do around here. I'll just get out my other putty. I'm out of Milliput, which works really well. But for this stuff, I'm going to use the Easy Sculpt. But for right now, let's put some magnets in. So Alexa, volume down. Alexa, volume down. All right, so I'm using a 1/4 inch. I know these are 3/16 inch magnets, and they don't have to be super strong. It's just enough to keep these from falling out. So it's not crazy strong, but it's got just enough holding power that if you bump this, they're not going to fall out. So what I do is start with a 1/16 inch drill bit. My work area is this phase of building. My work area is just a wreck. There is crap everywhere. Yeah, so what I do is I just I'm gonna eyeball center here. 1/16 inch. And then I get a little piece of blue tack. You're not gonna be able to see this part. And I put it in, so the blue tack, like poster putty. And I put it in the female key and I push it down. And then I take the piece I want to magnetize, I push it in, and give it a little push. Pull that out. And you can't see it, but there's a little peg of blue tack that came up in that hole from that piece. Now I take my drill and I'm gonna use that as a guide. And just don't need to go all the way through, just start the hole. Okay, now we switch to our, actually try something because the last hole I drilled was a little on here, a little big. So now using that 1/16 inch hole as a guide, I can go in here and drill a hole for the magnet. And this being a resin print, you want to go slow because sometimes you'd like to crack out. This being ABS-like resin, it's got more flex than a standard resin, so it's really good for drilling. Okay, so now I'm just going to push the magnet in. I made the hole just a hair. Excuse me, a hair smaller. I don't need any glue. It just pressure fits. So here. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my floating is right. Let's take my magnets now. If it's attracting us to the wrong side, I want it to repel to go in. Let's see if that'll pressure fit. Maybe not. I'm gonna drill that out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm actually use the drill bit as a tool. So again, just checking always checking polarity. Man, you do not want to glue a magnet in backwards. I've done it before and it is not fun. I'm going to use a little super glue. And I'm going to make sure this is either perfectly flush or recessed just a hair. You want your magnets as close together as possible because that's got the most pulling force. What's up, GB? Okay. So now, if I did this right, yeah, just enough power to pull that in place. It ain't gonna fall out if this base gets bumped. So let's do the other two, and then after that, it's gap filling, which is gonna take a while. There's a lot of gaps. I mean, there's not a lot. There's just a lot of area to cover. It's just a big piece. I would love to get a coat of primer on this today. That's kind of my goal, is to get the first round of primer on this. And then tomorrow I can finalize prep, and then hopefully Monday start paint. That is my goal. I do have a second work in progress video I recorded yesterday. I just haven't uploaded it yet. We'll do that today at some point. Again, I'm gonna. So, in case you're wondering, Bond reached out to me and told me that there was 12 bottles of resin in this guy. So, even with inexpensive resin, it's got $300 worth of materials to print this sucker. go. Thing about magnets, they like to they fling around my workbench to the closest metal tool. So a good trick, which I forget to mention, is when you're putting magnets in, if you want it flush, I'll show you here in a second. It's a really simple trick, and not so you get the best strength and it's not sticking out. Because sometimes I'll accidentally make the magnet too high, which causes problems. Just use a drill bit, a couple sizes bigger, or anything metal that's a little bit bigger than your drill bit than the magnet. Because what happens is you can put the magnet on, and then when you go to push it in, it'll stay. Yeah, 12 bottles. So using the resin, I typically use 12 times 35. The resin I use is between 30 and 35, depending on the pricing. 360. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a drill bit that's a little bit bigger. That when I push it in, the drill bit will keep it from going in any further than it needs to go. It'll keep it flush. Does that make sense? Let's see. Do you use a different primer for printed? Nope. I use the same. I use Stynylrez Resin as kind of my go-to primer. I used to use a Krylon Max primer for really big stuff because it came in a rattle can, and cost-wise it was it was good, but they stopped making it, or I can't get it locally anymore. And Stynylrez Resin is a good primer. It's a Badger primer, so it goes in my airbrush. It's water based, and I tell you what, it's a really fucking good primer. So I get it in the big bottles like this. I got 3 big bottles like this. This will last me 3 of these will last me about a year. Sometimes I go through 4 of them depending on the pieces if I need to prime a lot. But it's also very good it's a good sandable primer. So it's not thick. It's not like a gap. It's not like a really thick primer for filling scratches, but it's good. It is good for sanding. It sands really well. So, yeah, Badger Stynylrez primer is my go-to primer, and it's an interesting primer because when you spray it on, it looks like shit, but once it dries, it's really smooth. Yeah, so I think Bond uses on this one. I think he used Sunlu ABS-like resin, which if you buy it in quantity, it's about $18 a kilogram, which is a really good price. It's like half the price of what the frozen resin. And I have used this resin before, and it's good. I like it's got just enough flex to it. I tried their standard resin once, and it was way too fucking brittle. Like I couldn't I was trying to take supports off, and my parts were maybe I just didn't have the settings right, but it was like way too brittle. But this is good stuff. I like it. So even at let's say it's $20 a kilogram for resin times 12, $480. No, sorry, my math is wrong. uh, about $400. Okay, let's say 400. Oh my gosh, I can't do math. 240, about 250 in resin and material cost, and then he's got his time for setting up the file and everything. So, eight. I think it was eight. Tony says print was 850 or something like that. That's a really good price, man, in my opinion, for such a big piece. A custom kit like this would run you. Well, by the time I'm done prepping it, the cost for me to prep it would be about the same as if you bought it from a custom group. So that's the thing about 3D prints. They're great, but then you're having to either prep it yourself or, hire a painter, builder to do all that work for you. So yeah, got asked once, so I prefer prints or kits, and I was like, I don't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's all the same. Everything is the same as far as prep and what you got to do to them. It's just the prints take longer because you're doing all the work the factory does. So I don't have a preference between one or the other. Prints I like every once in a while just because then I have to I am building something, so I'm not just a painter. So it's nice to be able to actually do some modeling every once in a while. Um, so once these magnets are in, I'm really trying to hold off on magnetizing that arm until I get the other shoulder printed. It'll just make aligning the magnets easier if I do them at the same time. But I'd really like to get this. If I get those magnets, if I could do that, then I'd have like this stage of the process done. I'm out of epoxy. I'm gonna get more epoxy. I used quite a bit of epoxy on this guy. There's just a lot of surface area to cover. All right. Let that dry for a minute. So Dwayne, hey man, we need to get one of your pieces done. We got a few of them here for you. I wouldn't mind doing that brown Wolverine. Okay. All right, so that's all. Those little flame guys are magnetized. Okay, so now I can kind of clean this up a little bit and get out some putty. I need to go downstairs to my garage and get some resin so I can fill in these cracks with resin. I got my UV light somewhere. Where'd it go? There it is. So yeah, I need to do that. So I got to fill in these cracks here. And here we'll fill these in the best we can. Hopefully, by the time I'm done, they're not crazy noticeable. These are always the hardest ones to fill in when you have flat surface. When there's a lot of texture and stuff in there, you can kind of hide your putty work a lot easier, especially stone work. It's really easy to hide putty because you just kind of stipple it on and add texture to it. It looks like stone work. So it's much more convincing. When you have these straight lines down here in the base, that's where the putty work is hard to hide. And initially I thought all this was print lines in the base, but I looked at the render and all this little texture is actually supposed to be there. So I was working on a spot. I started to try to sand it. I was like, "Ooh, that's a bad print line." It's like, no, it's actually supposed to be in there. So I had to stop doing that. So I've got some pretty good gaps right here, back in this area. Some areas, if it's not crazy, I'm not going to worry about it. But if it's really noticeable, like right here where the skull butts up against them, and fill that in. Because the way I paint, I add a lot of shadows and stuff to the corners and things, and you can kind of get away with some little tiny gaps here and there because it just looks like some shadow. Okay. Let's see. Gosh, I really want to. I mean, technically, since the type of magnets I'm using, well, no, I'm using. Oh, I wish I had this other shoulder. I really want to get these magnets set up here, right? Because for this one, I just need probably one in the middle. Well, you can't see what I'm doing. All right, Dwayne. So for this arm, I only need a magnet here in the middle. And that'll be more than enough. But I need, for this guy, I'm going to need at least one magnet. Maybe, I don't know, one in the middle and one up here. And this has a lot of weight to it. So I'm trying to keep it from moving around too much. I did that yesterday. It's hardened. Okay. I mean, I technically could get this one magnetized. At least I've got that done. And then just got to print the other shoulder. All right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to clean up my work area a little bit. Okay, stop and do that every once in a while. Just kind of clean up. Just take a little cleanup break here. Get organized. I don't need this big sanding block anymore. That actually goes back out in my garage. For sanding the bottom of the bases. That's trash. This can go back in my cardboard drawer. Don't lose that. That's a good drill bit. I need to get some metric drill bits. They make some really killer sets, mechanical drill bit sets that have hundreds of drill bits, and they're like super like they're not only your standard fractions, but then they do like really odd fraction sizes. You said they have like a really odd size you need to drill or something. They're pretty damn expensive. I've looked down. They're several hundreds of dollars for those drill bits, and you know it's like how often you need that one special size drill build it. Like for this, not too often. You know, maybe once a year, twice a year. Not gonna vacuum up the dust that I have going on. I'll be making more, but like I said, it's always good to kind of take a pause every once in a while and just do a little cleanup. Don't need scissors. Those go away. I need to vacuum my floor too. My floor's a wreck. All right. I'm not gonna broadcast too long today. I did like 3 hours on Monday. Let's do a little bit today. It's gonna be my client Tony likes to see the live broadcast, so I'll do it when I'm doing something at PC to show live. Painting is hard to show live. Like I could afford like a production crew to film me while I'm videoing. That'd be awesome. But alright, let's vacuum this up a little bit. I'm gonna sweep my floor a little bit too. It's dirty. So my floor's a wreck. This is so got these the floors I have in my work area they're Pergo floors my parents put in this house years ago. They've absolutely just destroyed them, but one day we'll redo all the flooring in the house. I'll have to put something up here or change my work area. That actually I can clean this up almost to where it was brand new. I just go over the floor with lacquer thinner and it cleans up everything. All the paint comes up. So I'm just rough on it. If anyone knows Randy Cooper, he's a model maker. He used to work in the film industry. He's got a killer shop. It's like a full-on like garage, concrete floors and everything. It's really, really nice. Oh, I gotta get this box out today. I've got a box back here. The last Sandman I did, I'm still waiting to ship it. The box is so damn big, it's 3 foot cubed. And it's going to Lebanon, so the shipping is crazy expensive. I finally got the first little box, which has the heads and the switch outs, but I was just waiting for the other part. Okay. There's Tony. Alright, what's up, man? Alright, let's do a little cleanup real quick. thunder. We got some storm coming on. A rainy day. Okay. A little cleanup. Then I feel like I can keep going. Yeah, well, did you see the video I sent you? I sent you a video yesterday. It was easier than trying to send you photos. So what I just did is I just magnetized all these little urns with the fire, just so that if this, if it gets bumped, they don't fall out. I glued on. I was gonna keep this part off, but I went ahead and glued it on, and I'll just mask around it as this relief. Again, anytime where I know I'm gonna glue something later, and I have the chance of getting glue on paint, I glued on before I paint, and then I just mask around it. So now what I gotta do, in case you didn't see the video I sent you, Tony, this is what we have going on. So the head will get glued on later. It's just sitting on there right now. But we unprint, yeah. So we have all these pipes. I cut off all the keys, and I added magnets, so these magnetize in. This pipe is magnetized. This shoulder pad is magnetized, and this arm is magnetized. So this will come as a separate piece like this. And this goes on, and then this goes on. Boom. And then for the other arm, which I haven't magnetized, so I'm still waiting for Bond to send me the file. He says he's going to send it to me. I messaged him again this morning. He said, oh, I totally forgot to get it to you. But that's kind of what's holding me up on finished magnetizing, is getting the file for the other shoulder. This will go in here, magnetized. This will just sit on. There's not enough room for a magnet. And then when this arm is on, you have this pipe goes on like that, and then when the screwy thing is, I'm calling it the screwy thing, this is magnetized, and it'll magnetize in the back there. So I'm just waiting for that other shoulder so I can get that printed. So while I'm waiting for that file, the rest of the day is going to be sanding and gap filling. I'm hoping to get a coat of primer on this today. That's my goal. So I've got some gaps. I've got some more gap filling to do around on the base. I don't think I have any gap filling on him at all. But everything fit really, really well. So while you're here, Tony, so this foot's a pretty tight fit down here, and it kind of snaps into place. And I thought about going in there and so what I'm saying is that it rubs really good, but that's actually a positive thing because it keeps him still. It keeps him on the base. So I'm going to paint him up and everything. Just know that there's going to be paint rubbing on his boot and these rocks, but it locks him into place. So I'd rather do that and have some paint rubbing and have him locked into place than go in there and try to make sure I don't have paint rubbing and him be wobbly. So just FYI that when you get him, I'll touch it up before I send it up, but they'll be rubbing around the boot and on the rocks a little bit. So, but he locks into place nicely because he's not moving. So that happened on the Bishop I did, where his foot kind of clicked into place, and I just told the client, like, hey, look, his foot clicks into place, and there'll be paint rubbing on the boot, so just be aware of that. But it fits really well. I don't want to. Yeah. So he's glued from the boots all the way up right now. The head will get glued on later. But I do that because, again, instead of painting and then gluing together, I like to use the there's no magnet. He doesn't need it. I could put one in there, but I don't think he needs it. Might not be a bad idea, though. I could do that. Let's see if I got room for it. If I do a magnet, I want to do a 1/2-inch magnet. So let me take this all. Oh, and his little loincloth is magnetized. So there's a hole right there, but that's because the magnet is recessed on the cloth. And when you put the belt buckle on, you don't see any of that. Let's see if I got room for a 1/2-inch magnet there. If I do, we'll put that on. We'll do that right now. Let's see. I just put putty in the bottom of his foot in this hole So I've got room. So once this putty's cured, I'll put a 1/2 inch magnet on there, and then again that'll give it a little more holding power. But when I put this in there, he clicks in. It's actually really nice. But it's not a bad idea. I'll put a 1/2 inch magnet. This putty takes about 5 hours to dry, and I put it in about an hour ago. So this afternoon I'll put a 1/2 inch magnet in that front foot. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good print, man. Vaughn killed it on this. He's got it dialed in. Until I get primer on it, I won't know how much more cleanup I have to do on the parts. Again, I try to get as many support marks off as I can as I go. But until you get primer on it, you really can't see them all. So, yeah, but he's getting there. It's looking good. So I'm just gonna do some gap filling while we're here. It's gonna be mostly on the base. So I gotta fill around these areas a little bit. I filled a little bit back here. If it doesn't stick out, I'm not gonna spend waste the time doing it. So I'm just, as I spin this, if I see something that just sticks out. This one is this is the biggest gap in the whole piece, which is actually pretty amazing. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And it's just because the bottom of this piece was where he supported the bottom here, which makes sense. And it just got warped a little bit. So, but thinking of all the prints I've gotten from Bond so far, this was probably the best one. As far as just fit and everything. And the fit has a lot to do with the sculpt, the actual file. But he's got his resin, he's got his settings dialed in. Part epoxy here. So did you play Diablo, the new season? Like I said, me and my son haven't played Diablo in months. The side pieces. Which side pieces? These? No, these are glued on. 65. What's that mean, 65? I don't know what that means. Like I said, we haven't played in forever. These are glued on. These have to be glued on because there's some gaps and stuff that need to be filled. Oh, you're level 65. Oh wow, nice. Is that your? Okay, so we use this easy sculpt for filling gaps. And you just want to try to get as close to an even amount as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can do it by weight if you want. I just eyeball it. And this stuff dries in about 8 hours. And I just use water to smooth it out. Just gonna cut. Put some water in it. I'll put the towels, the sculpting tool. I don't even know what level I'm on. Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind starting a new character, to be honest. In 2 days. So did you start over with a new character? Or do you have to start when a new season comes? Do you have to start a new character? Like, do you start the whole campaign over? How does that work? It'll take me months to get. So a new season, you start all over at level 0. I guess I don't understand that. But again, I don't play it enough. You start the whole campaign over. You skip the campaign, but you start at 0 with your level. I'd play, but I'm too busy building Apocalypse. I think I need to get I need to buy myself a used PS4 and put it in my work area so I can play it. 'Cause my son's got, I let him borrow my PS4 years ago, and I don't think I'll ever get it back in his room. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, so I probably lost my character from the last time I played. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a long time. What are you playing as? What character? I think I'm a barbarian in my previous one. Watch for a special package soon. A special package like coming to my house? Sorcerer. That's what you were last time, right? I think that's what I wanted because you guys were kicking ass. You and your friend were. Alright, so when should I expect this special package so I can make sure I'm home? Give me tracking information on it. Rogue. Oh, you were a rogue last time. Yeah, you guys were, man, you're just. Those few times that me and my son played, you leveled us up like really quick. It was really, it was really nice. What? What do you want? What does that puppy want? What do you want? Come here. You want to say hi to everyone? He wants to see my basset hound. Come on, Sadie. Say hi to everyone. Say hi, man. Say hi. Come here. Come say hi. Come here. This is Sadie. She's our basset pup. We've had her almost a year now. Come on, say hi. She's a good dog. She's sweet. What, is Mama not paying attention to you? Huh? Take your problem? Take your problem? Blah, blah, blah. You can't come on my lap. I'm working. The basset hounds on my lap are not conducive to working. Yeah, we've had her for about a year. She was we've had basset. She's our third basset hound we've had since we've been married, and she's a good dog. She's got a lot of puppy in her still, which is good for our other dog. She loves to. They play really well together. Our other dog is a Chiweenie, and she's suffers from little dog syndrome. She thinks she's a 200-pound dog when she's a 13-pound dog. Okay, so I'm just coming in here. I'm gonna start packing in, start doing some, filling all the gaps that are just sticking out, really blaring, annoying gaps. Like I said, there's not a ton on this piece. But I'm not real careful. At first, I just shove it in there. These like, a little water on my sculpting tool. And then once I get it in there and I've got enough in there, then I kind of smooth it out a little bit. These Q-tips and take off the excess. Blend it. Yeah, I need to see what I need to see. Let me see what a used PS4 costs. Maybe I'll go on Marketplace today and see what those cost. I get one for a couple $100. Maybe I'll grab one. Because I just like I just don't like with it being in my son's room. I mean, it's like that's like his space. I don't want to go in there and take over his space. You know, he's 14 and So Tony, we start in the next, at least over the weekend, we need to talk about colors on this guy because my goal is to start painting on Monday. If I get a coat of primer on him today, and if Bond will send me the file for the shoulder and I get that printed, I should be able to finish the prep tomorrow. Get it to the point where I can, um, you know, start painting on Monday. Yeah, I mean, if you look at from the apocalypse I've seen, his color scheme is fairly simple. That doesn't mean you can't bring out some of these details in the boots. The boots have a ton of detail, a lot of great panels and stuff. So no reason why I can't bring that out, you know. And the base, I think I actually like what they did on the render with the base. They kept it again relatively simple. I like the rock tones here, and they kind of golded, gilded the steps and things like that. Yeah, I'll take this. If it's cool with you, Tony, I'll take this guy to Wonderfest. I'll have a couple pieces out on the judges' table to show off. Let's see what you sent me. Oh, he sent me photos. I'll look at those in a sec. I'll look at those a little bit later, Tony, when I'm not broadcasting. Yeah, I got a lot of work done yesterday. I just put in 8 hours. I didn't put in like extra time, but I made really good progress on this guy. This is the biggest gap in the whole thing is right here. So, not good thing it's like stone because I can just kind of put the putty on there and sculpt some stone texture into it, and it should look pretty seamless. Especially when it's all painted, you won't be able to see anything. This little corner here needs a little love. Okay, so this should work. Once we got some primer on this, this should look pretty good. I go in here and just get kind of add a little texture to this putty that I just put on. Just something a little bit, just kind of, you know, it's perfectly smooth and it won't look like stone. So just a little stippling, a little, just like that. Okay, so that gap looks pretty good. Put this one around the skull. Excuse me. Yeah, I try to give Bond as much, you know, I try to give him credit all the time. He does really good work on these. He prints better than I do. He's doing it a lot more often too, though, so he's got it dialed in. I think really the key to really good consistent printing is your printing environment, because it is very susceptible to temperature, humidity, all that stuff. It plays a huge part in your success rate and things just working. And since I print in my garage, I get my best printing results in the summer when it's hot out. Winter's always a challenge because it gets cold in there. But I do have I did install a heater in my big printer, so that has really made a huge difference as far as like printing in the winter. Okay, I think that'll work for that. Like some of these gaps, I mean, I don't know, it's like I'm taking some little gaps here and there. I don't know if it's really worth my time and the expense to fill them. Some of them are just hard to get to. So I have to weigh that sometimes when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like, okay, is it worth the effort to do that? Is it noticeable? Is it worth, you know, the time, the expense to fix that one little area? So I think that's a pretty significant gap right there. Let me fill that in. Okay, I'll paint up nicely there. A little texture to it, and that's good. I mixed up way too much putty, but I'd rather have more mixed up than I need. I did that yesterday, and that looks good. That's okay. That's okay. Mixed that in yesterday. That's fine. It may not be nearly as bad as I thought as far as gap filling goes. It's all on the base. I don't until I get primer on the body. I don't see anything that I need to fill. Primer will tell me that, and I can go back and. Nice thing about this particular putty is you can use it over primer, and it still sticks. Some putties you can't use over primer. It's got to be bare resin or bare metal. This stuff sticks to anything. That's one reason I like it. I really don't like this type of glove, but that's what Walmart had when I was there the other day. I have the tight fitting latex gloves. I don't like these. I'm just not seeing what I was building it. I was thinking I had like more gaps to fill, but I just don't think I do. I just made a ton of putty I don't need, but okay. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go down to my garage and get some resin to work on filling these gaps. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'll do a little filling here with some resin. Like I said, I typically use the Aqua 4K frozen. What's worked the best for me. Okay, so we're going to fill in some of these areas here on the bottom here where all these panels met. Clean them out. Yeah, we're going to get these to look as good as possible. I'm going to pour a little of this resin into a cup to work with. And then you just need a shitty brush, something you don't care about, that you don't want to get rid of. There's my resin. Do I have any shitty brushes right now? I should. Not that I use good brushes anyway. Let's see what I have in here. I think a small one. Okay, and then I've got my UV light right here. Okay, so the trick is, all right, paint it up. Yeah, right now we're gonna start throwing paint on it. It's good to go. So we're gonna fill in these gaps. Now the trick is, don't shine your UV light on your little pot of resin because you'll solidify it. And you want to do this in layers. If you put it on too thick and then try to cure it, it's not going to cure all the way down. Yeah, UV light. So that's how these printers work. That's how the printers work, is a big UV LED. Basically, it's an iPad that projects the image and cures it with UV light. So you can use it for gap filling. I just use it for really small gaps because it's so liquidy, it's so runny. So I just hold it on here for 30 seconds or so. And then we'll sand it smooth and hopefully those little seams are gone. The trick is not to shine your UV light on your little pot of resin or your brush. I do a little bit at a time. Kind of brush it on. I let it kind of try to run down in that crack. And it's just like any other seam filling on any other model. You gotta sand it smooth and reintroduce any reintroduce any detail that you may lose. Yeah, I got a coat of primer on this today. That's really good. And then again, just waiting on Bond to send me the shoulder file so I can print that up. With this weather coming in, hopefully, I don't think it'd be a very long print, but losing power in the middle of a print sucks. You can see how that's glowing. See how that glows like that, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm a barbarian right now. I think I'm level. What level am I? I'm getting Paragon points now, so whatever level allows you to get Paragon points is where I am with my barbarian. I think on Diablo 3, which I haven't played in a while, I'm like Paragon level 32, Paragon level 32. But that goes like to Paragon like level 900 or something. 50, yeah, I'm past 50. But it took me 6 months to get there. How do you get to level 65 in a day, Tony? Like, what are you doing to get that many experience points? Are you just playing for 24 hours nonstop and not sleeping? Like, You have to know all the secrets on how to get that high that fast. So this is dry. I could probably sand that. You can also add even in 6 hours. I could not get that high in 6 hours. So another thing you can do with this resin for bigger gaps, you can add you can mix it with baby powder for larger gaps to make actually like a putty. Yeah, I know. I just use this. I don't need anything else clamped to my desk. I got so much shit surrounding me. So this is just for like little small stuff. It's perfect for what I do. I couldn't get that high in 6 hours. I don't know what you're doing, man. Oh, that's why. Yeah, because you team up and you level up real quick. This actually cures in about. You're doing thin layers in about 3 seconds, but since this is going on a little thicker, I'm doing it for a good 30 seconds or so. Just make sure I get full cure. Because the worst thing is when you go to sand, like you're doing this, and you sand the resin and you hit uncured resin. But these gaps are really, really small. The fit on this is exceptional. So it's like it's not even like even running down in there too much. If these were bigger gaps, they would be running down in those cracks. They'll stay liquid indefinitely until you put UV light on it. It won't solidify. Now resin does tend to have a shelf life. I've had resin on my shelf as long as a year and it still worked. But sometimes they'll tell you if you start having problems with resin, you may have extended shelf life, but it won't. This will if I shine this light on top of this, that top layer and everything around it would cure. Oh, you took the day off specifically to do that? No, this is the UV curing. This is the printing resin. This is what the prints are made out of. This particular brand is the frozen. That's what I typically use. This is what goes in your printer. This is the frozen. The brand this print is made out of what's called Sunlu ABS like resin. This is the printing resin. That's why doing these little gaps is using it for little gaps is perfect like this because you can cure it fast. You're not waiting. That's why you don't want to shine the light on that. How long? Hold on. I missed that. I'm on my phone, so I gotta look at how much. How does it actually print? Does it have you? Okay, so yeah, so the way the printers work, the ones that we have, it's called MSLA, is the technology, masked stereolithography printing. And basically, there's an iPad in the bottom of your screen. It's an LCD screen, and it projects each layer at a time. It masks what does not need to be exposed. So the first layer will expose, let's say we're printing Apocalypse. And you're printing very thin layers. So these are all printed at 50 microns, so super small. So it masks everything that doesn't need to be exposed, and it exposes just that one layer for however long your exposure setting is set. And then the build plate, which is where the print is, it lifts up and goes back down, but it stops at zero point zero 0.05 millimeters or 50 microns. Then it exposes the next layer, and it keeps going up and up and up and up. So that's how these printers work. You're using basically an iPad to project an image of the layer you want to create. So that's why, depending on your printer settings, they can take a while to print. Slower is typically better just because you have less chance of something failing. But some guys have their settings, they can print crazy fast, but um, I don't know. I've tried to set my printers to go fast, and I just get failures. I think part of it's just because I'm in the garage and the environment fluctuates. Yeah, it's a pretty cool technology. So SLA, which is stereolithography printing, is uses lasers and it draws. That I've actually looked at those printers, like to get an industrial one, but they're like $100,000 just for the printer. But there you have a big vat of resin, and the build plate is in the resin, and there's a laser that shoots down from the top. It draws a layer, and then the build plate goes down by 50 microns or whatever your setting is, and draws another layer, and it works its way down. So all the stuff that we get from China, they're printed that way, and that tends to be a slightly higher quality print, just because the resolution is can be a little bit better. You're printing with a very tiny pinpoint of light. So this takes, like I said, if this was just like a normal layer, it would take about 3 seconds to cure. But since I'm putting it a little thicker, I'm doing it for about 20-30 seconds, which is more than enough to cure it. Once I'm done putting this on, I'll go through and sand this all, take a look at it. That primer will tell me if I've done a good job. Sorry, I really need some water on my desk. Screw this on. It's coming loose. Come on. That's cured already. So you're gonna tell me what I'm getting in my special package? Or is it a secret? So it is like really fine detail here. I want to be really keep this as small as possible. I'm trying to lose those details. Don't go buy anything. Okay. Okay. Oh man. See, now you're just teasing me. I hate that. Okay. Alright, so we went through and filled all those. Now we're gonna go give them a light sanding and see what happens. If I miss anything, this the dust will fill in the crack. But again, these gaps are really, really small. Where's my I hate sanding the gloves on. Feels weird. And after I prime this, if I feel like I need to go add any more detail back into this from the sanding and the resin filling, I'll just go with a Dremel or something and add some detail. But looks like that filled in really nicely there. There's a little lip right here, a little detail. Okay, looks like that filled in nicely. It's better to have a little flat spot than not sand your resin down enough, because what you don't want is a little hump there. That'll really scream, I didn't sand it enough. So I'm just using some 240 and 320 to sand this. That looks pretty good. I hate having gloves on when I work because that's why my hands are always so messed up. But from my background in automotive repair, I used my fingertips like for 90% of what I'm feeling for, as far as like if there's a seam or there's a little imperfect. I mean, I use the touch, and even through the sandpaper, I can feel if I've sanded something enough. I can have it's an interest. It's just like you kind of learn that. So I hate having gloves on because it numbs that sensation as far as like the sandpaper or whatever you're using. There's a groove right there, so we're gonna sand that. So this is a little tedious here, but you know, it's part of the process. You got to do it. So I'm not feeling any seam there. I think that's going to be okay. We'll see. Again, primer will tell me if I got to do any more work, but I'm really trying to feel there's a hump there from any excess resin. That's one. Once that feels smooth, then I move on. You can also, I'm not sure, I'm not zoomed in tight enough, but as I sand, the dust will collect around the little hump of resin I put down, so it acts as a sanding guide. So yeah. Zoom out because it gets fuzzy when I zoom in. Yeah, I should be sanding this stuff. Once I get this sanded down, I'm gonna see if that putty in that foot's dry enough to add a magnet into that his front foot. And if I can do that, then I can add that magnet. Where's the other font? There it is. So right here, there's the detail line. I got to carve it back out because it got filled with the resin. So I'm just using a file that's got teeth on all four sides. Just slowly go back in and carve it out. Okay, and I can tell that one looks pretty good. Again, primer is going to be the what tells me if I need to do any more work, but pretty confident I got that. I actually have a Diablo piece in my queue. It's a repaint. Client sent it to me. Well, he sent me the first one a few months ago with no padding in it, and it showed up in a million pieces. I'm like, I got your piece, but it's disintegrated because you didn't pack it right. So then he's like, well, can you repair it? Like, I could repair it, but it's like, how much is a new one? He's like, probably $500 or $600. Like, go buy a new one. It'd be cheaper than me fixing this one. So he went and bought it. He went and bought a new one and sent me that one for repainting. There was a okay, Tony, if you're still there, who's the character? He's the guy. He's like the angelic guy with the big wings behind him. Um, no, it's not a bust. It's a full figure. It looks like a barbarian. Uh, what's the guy with the big? I can't think of his name. Got the big wings. Very angelic looking. What's his name? I was supposed to do a prototype paint up of that years ago, but it fell through. And the thing was huge. Like the wings on it was like he was like crazy huge. Fall in there. I just can't get in there. So I'm just trying to keep this repair, to the smallest area as possible. A little too much resin right there. Just sand it down quite a bit. That's pretty good. Yeah, I got a little too much resin on some of these spots. Not the end of the world, it's just got more sanding to do. A little more aggressive. There we go. Wish this was a little smaller. Let's see if I can cut this down. We got a little tiny stick. I got a little itty bitty sanding stick. It's perfect for that. Look at that. I'm just following it up to like a 320. The primer will take care of any sanding scratches. Surprisingly, I have not broken these bones yet. Now that I've said that, I'll probably break these. But how long have I been on? Almost 2 hours. So far, I think these are gonna look good. I gotta wait for this putty to cure before I prime it. I've tried priming on putty that's not quite cured all the way, and it doesn't work out so well. So the Easy Sculpt's gotta dry for about 6, 7 hours. So I'm gonna continue filling any gaps I see and any support marks I see, and I'll probably have to prime this like later tonight to get primer on it, so I can let that dry long enough. And then tomorrow we'll look at all our work and see what else we got to do to I can get the shoulder printed overnight. If I get the file from Vaughn, I can get the shoulder printed overnight and get that prepped and magnetized. That's the only thing that's going to really hold me up from if I need to put a little work on the weekend, no problem. I've been trying to make it a priority that I don't work on the weekends too much. I used to work on the weekends all the time, and my son's like, "Hey, Dad, are you working today?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm working." So it just came to the point where, I just had to try not to work on the weekends so much. I still do if I need, if I can put in 4 or 5 hours here to get to a certain point. But work to do right there. Feel it. Sometimes you get a little aggressive. Put a little more resin on there. There we go. Yeah, did it. That feels pretty good. So it's important when you're putting these big flat pieces together to get them as lined up as perfectly as possible. You're never going to lined up absolutely perfectly because they warp and stuff throughout the printing process, but oh yeah, Tyrell. There you go. I just saw that. Yeah, Tyrell. So I was supposed to do a prototype of him years ago, and it fell through. He's freaking huge. There's gonna be a photo of him like on the ground. His wings came up like 4 feet, 4.5 feet up in the air. It was insane. pretty good. Alright, I'll probably sign off here once I get done with these sanding the other seam because I'm not for 2 hours. It's gonna be the same again, same stuff today, sanding and looking for errors. This is kind of an interesting step right here with the resin and stuff. You don't get, So I'm giving a presentation at Wonderfest on how to prep 3D prints for painting. And I think I mentioned before, I only have an hour to do it. Really, we need like 3 or 4 hours to do it. To do a basic presentation on how to prep a 3D print, but I'm gonna go through the basics. But like I said, it's the same steps as you do for any other garage kit. Sometimes you fill a base with resin. Adding pins. I'm just constantly feeling over that seam to see if I feel anything. Alexa, what time is it? 12:15. That one looks really good. This is the most important seam out of the whole base right here because this is right in front. It's got these little details going through there. So this is the one that's got to look the best. And luckily it fit together very, very well. Yeah, just a really light sanding on the resin I put on there, and that pretty much takes care of that, from what I can tell. All right, kiddos, I think we're gonna sign off. Need some music in the. I'd have some music in the background. Oh, I sent you a video last night, a little update of what I accomplished yesterday. I've got music in the background. If I turn it up too loud, YouTube will flag it and they won't let me post it. No luck skill. Oh, I don't know what that refers to. Did I say something that was lucky? I don't know. I have to lift my head up and look at the back of my phone every once in a while. Okay. I think that these seams are pretty good. Again, primer will let me know if I need to do. I feel a little hump right there. Okay. All right, so I think we'll sign off, kiddos. Rest of the day is going to be, again, getting anywhere support marks I see. I'm going to add a magnet to this foot like Tony had suggested. It's a good idea. This helps stabilize him. If Bond sends me that file, I'll get that prepped and get that printing. And then other than that is trying to get some primer on this thing today. So even if I don't have the other shoulder, I can prime everything else, the base and all the other parts, and just check my work for tomorrow as far as like cleaning up any additional support marks or gaps that just stick out like a sore thumb. I thought about going in where these parts butt up. I think it's gonna be fine. They're like, the gap is like 1/64th of an inch, and it's like, is it worth spending 2 hours filling that? I don't think so. It's not worth the time or the expense to do it. I think it looks fine. By the time I get it painted, it'll be fine. Yeah, looks really good. Just a cool piece, man. Cool print. So far it's been a joy to work on. I mean, no headaches. I was dreading putting these 6 panels together on the bottom, but they lined up really, really well. So that was the part I was dreading the most. And just the Wicked did a killer job on this one. The keys are really big. There's a lot of positive contact, a lot of surface area for glue. So yeah, I mean, when I glued the legs in, I had enough epoxy ooze out. I think it filled all the gaps in the legs and everything. I don't think I'm gonna have any gap filling to do around these legs. Typically I have to go through and fill around all this area, but I think my epoxy, I had a little bit of a gap right here, and technically I didn't even need to fill it because that gets covered up by the belt buckle, but I filled it. But yeah, this is really good. They can't. I was pointing out the shit you didn't see. Usually have to. I was saying I usually have to fill in around the legs here and stuff on even kits, even stuff from I get from custom pieces. But the fit's just really good on this. So cool piece. Thanks for hanging out for a while. And no, I'm just gonna glue the head on. Oh, the seam in the front. Yeah, it lined up really well. No, I'm just gonna glue the head on. There's no reason to magnetizing. There's no switch out. If it was a switch out, I'd magnetize it, but it's yeah. There's no need to magnetize it. It was glued on. It'll be one piece. I think the head's a little small in my opinion for the sculpt. I think it could be a little bit bigger scale wise. This is my opinion. It's kind of like an only gripe on this piece. I think the head could be a little bit bigger, by maybe 10-15%. I think it's a little small for the sculpt, but other than that, the sculpt's really good. So yeah, so we'll catch you guys next time. I do have a work in progress 2 video I recorded yesterday. I'll get that uploaded today. Some point. You want me to magnetize the head? I can. Yeah, I see what you're saying. They might do another head later. Okay, I'll magnetize it. That way, if they do an alternative head, we can switch it out. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, I'll add a magnet to it. No problem. I can do that right now, actually, while I'm still here. Let's do it. I mean, it is your piece. I guess we can do what you want to do. Whatever. Put my resin away before I spill it everywhere. Yeah, I guess you're paying the bill. We'll do what you want. I'm talking with you. Okay. Let's put this to the side. Let's see, magnetize. Let's see what size magnet. I was trying to put the biggest magnet in I can for whatever I'm working on. Is this putty dry? Oh, I could probably do the foot magnet now too. I think this putty may be dry enough. So let's do that while I'm still here. It'll be worth the surprise. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So for the head, let's see. I puttied that today, I think, but that's probably dry enough. Okay. For magnets, let's see. What size should I put in the head? It doesn't have to be crazy strong, just enough to keep it from falling off. But I do like to try to use the biggest magnet that will fit in the area. So this looks like a 5/16. Will fit nicely. Yeah, I think it's a 5/16. And should I do magnets again? It's the same process. Yeah, I've got some good music going on in the background. I just can't turn it up. But YouTube will flag it. I think they'll just won't let me monetize. I haven't monetized anything in a long time because I don't get enough views to monetize anything. But I don't want to get, a strike and possibly my channel getting taken down for my 10 followers. Bonus footage. Yeah, bonus footage exactly. Bonus footage is more drilling and gluing. All right, so I believe it's 5/16. Yes, but we're not gonna start with that 5/16. That's way too big to start with. So we'll start with a 3/32 inch. And I'm just gonna eyeball center. Hold on a second. You don't realize how big it is. I have to look at my phone again, sorry. Yeah, he's a big guy. It's like working in an office in lieu from home. What do you mean, Tony? Working in an office in lieu from home? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was self-employed for let's see, 2000 to 2000 for 10 years, and then I got my corporate job at J.C. Penney as a hoity-toity fancy title, internal communications photographer. So all corporate type of stuff, nothing exciting. A lot of annual report stuff, internal communications, that kind of thing. And then when I got laid off, just started self-employed again, which has its ups and downs. I was oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I'm broadcasting, I got you. Yeah, I don't mind the I wish I should have my computer set next to me because I keep having to look at the back of my phone. I have to pause. I have to hit the chat icon to look for comments. But if I have my computer out here, I don't like to have my computer up here because it just gets full of dust and dirt, and try to keep it clean. um, but yeah, it's nice to have people to hang out with. Oh, don't need that big of a magnet. I could probably get away with the, what is this, 3/16? I could probably, it would be overkill. I mean, this thing, the head's not heavy. I just need to keep it from falling off. Let's do that. We'll do a nice, I've got a 3/16 that's half an inch. That's a good size magnet for this kind of thing. Oh, no, what size is this? Oh, it's quarter inch magnet. That's perfect. But to be honest, I didn't like a lot of the people I worked with in the office. I take that back. Most of the people I liked. There was only a few I didn't like. Okay, let's use a quarter-inch magnet. That's more than enough for this. Where's my kicker? Kicker. There it is. All right, let's see if we can do this right. Did we do it right? Oh, we did it right. Look at that. I know what I'm doing. Perfect. 1/4" magnet was more than enough for that. Look at that. I may not be the smartest pole locker around, but there you go. All right. So now if they decide to release another head, we can have that printed, or I can print it and we can do a switch out. The only problem with that, Tony, is I would have to have the body back. I would have to have the body shipped back to me so I know which way the magnet goes. So just FYI. Because I would need to know the polarity. Not the end of the world, you just have to ship them back to me. Now that putty was a little soft, I just drilled into it. So maybe too soft to do the magnet in the foot. Let's see. I may have to wait a little bit longer. It's a big hole, 1/2 inch hole. Let's see. I may have to go buy more 1/2 inch magnets. These things are expensive. Well, I've been getting them at the hobby store. So eight 1/2 inch magnets is about $20. But so like I'm going to use in the arm and the other arm for the big screw thing. I'm going to use. I've got different types. I got these kind with the holes in them, which are good, but they're not quite as strong. These ones that are 1/2 inch diameter by 1/4 inch thick. These things are crazy strong. So that's what I'm going to use in the arm for the screw switch out because they got a lot of holding power. I do sometimes. I'll just stack. So like for the foot, I'll just stack a few of these guys because he stays in there really good. And this will just be another little layer of support for his foot in the base. Okay. Let's get these guys out of the way. I need to label those urns because they all have a specific spot as far as the way they key into the base. You could technically put them anywhere, but they don't line up correctly if you put them in the wrong spot. So it looks like Bond did a pretty good job of centering these holes, so I should be able to just drill these out. Let's see. And when I'm doing the 1/2 inch magnets, I work my way up to that size. You can't just start drilling a 1/2 inch hole in this resin. It'll split and crack and do all sorts of fun stuff that you don't want to deal with. Okay, so hopefully this won't crack out here because it's a very thin wall. Okay, so Tony, so the putty I put in there broke loose earlier. So if you hear anything rattling around the foot, don't worry about it. It's just the putty that broke loose. It may cure and rattle around in there a little bit. FYI, don't worry about it. It's not gonna cause anything. So I'm going to stack a few of these magnets and glue these in. Just like to fill these holes in the middle of the magnet with some glue. It just kind of helps lock them in. And yeah, you can always glue it when you get it if you want. I didn't glue it; it's magnetized. Yeah, but if they don't, I mean, you can leave magnetized if they put out a head later. You want to print an alternate head. And I just like to glue things. If it can be glued, I glue it. It just makes it, more stable. Okay, so we got the magnet in there. I'll put that to the side. Put it in the base. And then I'll do another round of cleanup. I'll sign off for the day and continue working. So I wish there was a feature. I'm not sure if that's. I don't know if it's available on the slicers I eat, like Chi Box or Lychee. But I mean, you put drain holes in. You can make them whatever size you want. But they should put a feature in the slicer when you're putting drain holes in that you could center it on the key and make it whatever size you want. So I could, if I know I'm going to put magnets in this piece later, I could put a key so I'm not eyeballing it in the slicer. I know that it's centered on the key and it's a 1/2 inch hole. And I do it on the other key as a 1/2 inch that's centered. That way it's already lined up before, and you have to do all this, like lining stuff up. It's already done. That'd be a really good feature. Definitely want to make sure the polarity is correct on this guy, because these are big magnets. Yeah, I mean, reach out to them. I do, and I don't. Yeah, maybe they'll do one for you. That'd be kind of cool. Do a one-off. You could have like a one-of-a-kind head for it. Crap. That's not what I did when I do. All right, well, I accidentally pushed the magnet through, so now I gotta. So the wall up here is a little thinner, and I pushed the magnet. Luckily, I didn't drop it, because then you definitely have a rattle in here if I dropped the magnet in the base. That would have sucked. So hopefully this works. I mean, it'll work. We'll let that glue dry up, and we'll put them on, and should get a little extra pull. Okay. Yeah, just get a little extra pull. Yeah, that'll help. All right, cool. Well, that's it, boys. I'm gonna sign off. Continue sanding today, and hopefully I'll be able to get some primer on this later this evening. But thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you guys later. I may put a magnet in this foot too. Couldn't hurt. He's in there pretty good. I don't know. He kind of locks in. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out.